Hello there, this is Graham Nichols from Affinity, Gospel Churches in Partnership based in the UK, and it's the 18th December 2025. Start with a sad piece of news really, that Wes Streeting was interviewed by the Health and Social Care Committee this week in the Houses of Parliament and actually couldn't answer a question about whether the assisted suicide bill currently going through the House of Lords is safe. And of course, we think as Christians that it's not only morally wrong, it's against God's plan, God's law, but also we think it's not safe for anyone. We think it's bad from every point of view. So do please pray that that bill somehow is halted in its progress through the House of Lords and never actually turns onto the statute book. Also, there is a plan for the government to give training to teachers so they can identify and teach against misogyny amongst young boys. That connects with quite a lot of research that's been done recently to do with young children and social media and kind of where they're getting their role models from and so on. I think it's clearly a good thing for identifying and teaching against men and boys treating women and girls badly, wrongly, inappropriately. So that's a good thing. But I think there's some worrying trends in this. One is the general trend towards the state knows best, that the state should be telling children what to do and giving them training rather than the parents. And that will be true to do with social media and to do with male and female roles. And of course, within that, we're not sure that the state knows what is the right thing to teach in lots of these areas. Of course, there's some kind of extreme behavior which we could all agree is wrong. But in terms of what is a man and what is a woman, and training our boys and girls up to be great men and great women who serve each other in the way that God has intended, that's a parental duty, that's a church duty, and may even contradict what they're being taught at school. So that's something to watch, something to be aware of. Connected with that, there was some research by Places for People, which does university accommodation, lets out university accommodation, that many university students, about 70%, filled out a survey saying that they feel lonely, and more than half of those feel lonely most of the time. It's interesting, isn't it? Because you think university is a place where people are highly socialized, maybe more interesting than being at home, much more kind of social stimulation there. But actually, this is part of a bigger trend amongst young people, that although we're much more digitally connected, we're much more disconnected in terms of face-to-face relationships. And there's much more loneliness and anxiety amongst our young people. Pray for us as parents and grandparents and people in churches who deal with children and young people to have wisdom how to train up young men, young women to be both good adult men, adult women, to know that they don't need to be socially isolated, to have good relationships in their families, with their friends, and so on, and ultimately know the comfort and the relationship that they can have with Christ. Lastly, there is a church in Texas which does a massive Christmas event involving animals. And apparently about 30,000 people went to it last year, and they're expecting similar this year. But there's been a bit of a setback that a lady was taken to hospital being kicked in the face by a camel. I think she's okay, so I think we can reflect on it with some degree of levity. Let's hope that your Christmases are interesting and exciting, but not quite like that, where you end up in A&E for some reason, either kicked by a camel or break your teeth on a nut or something like that. Let's actually pray that for the Christians watching this, that your Christmases are peaceful and joyful, and that the special services that you arranged over this season would be well attended, and that people would get to know Jesus. God bless.